Imagine a chessboard. Not the dramatic moment when an enemy piece attacks, but when one of your own pieces knocks over your king. That's the strange paradox of human relationships. We are wired for survival, and survival requires trust. Trust allows us to build friendships, relationships, families. But here's the contradiction. The deepest wounds in our lives are rarely inflicted by enemies. They're delivered by people who once knew us better than anyone else. The friend who reveals your secrets, the partner who breaks your loyalty, the colleague who quietly undermines you. So the real question isn't why people betray. The real question is this: why does love often become the doorway through which betrayal enters? Today, we're decoding the psychology behind one uncomfortable truth. The closer someone is to you, the more power they have to hurt you. The first reason betrayal happens is something psychologists call the proximity trap. Here's the logic. You cannot be betrayed by someone you never trusted. A stranger can insult you. They can compete with you. They can even harm you. But betrayal is different. Betrayal requires access. The people closest to you hold something incredibly valuable. Information. They know your insecurities, your fears, your weaknesses, your dreams. It's like giving someone the keys to your castle. Most of the time, that's necessary for real connection. But those same keys also unlock vulnerability. Another strange psychological pattern appears here. We often treat strangers better than the people we love. Why? Because strangers can judge us. Their opinion still matters. But loved ones? We subconsciously assume they'll always be there. That assumption removes a layer of caution. And sometimes that's when respect quietly begins to fade. Familiarity doesn't just breed comfort. Sometimes it breeds carelessness. The second reason betrayal happens has less to do with the victim and more to do with the psychology of the betrayer. In attachment theory, there's a pattern called avoidant attachment. People with this pattern often crave connection. But when relationships become emotionally close, something unexpected happens. Their brain interprets intimacy as a loss of independence. And that triggers a subtle fear response. Instead of communicating that fear, the brain searches for a way to create distance. Sometimes that distance comes in destructive forms. Cheating, lying, emotional withdrawal. From the outside, it looks like cruelty. But psychologically, it can be something different. It's a form of self-sabotage. The person isn't always trying to destroy the relationship. They're unconsciously trying to regain control of their emotional space, which leads to a difficult truth. Sometimes betrayal isn't caused by a lack of love. It's caused by a lack of emotional regulation. The third reason betrayal happens is tied to power dynamics. In many relationships, power isn't always equal. One person may feel more confident, more successful, more admired, and when someone quietly feels inferior, resentment can begin to grow beneath the surface. Psychologically, betrayal becomes a way to rebalance that power. By hurting the other person, the betrayer proves something to themselves, that they still have impact, that they still have control. It's a dark psychological strategy, but it explains why betrayal sometimes appears suddenly, even in relationships that once seemed stable. Because underneath the surface, a silent struggle for power may have been happening all along. So what does this tell us about human relationships? Betrayal is rarely about the victim's worth. It's usually a reflection of the betrayer's internal conflict. A conflict between the need for connection and the fear of losing control. Understanding this doesn't remove the pain of betrayal, but it gives you something more valuable: clarity. Because trust isn't the absence of risk. It's the management of it. And the more you understand human psychology, the sharper your social intelligence becomes. Subscribe to sharpen your social intelligence. This is influence decoded.